This is Raven Dana, and thank you for tuning in to Walking Between the Worlds. This is class 3 of 4 in the series Dream Keeper's Circle. It is Wednesday, the 5th of April, 2023, and get ready to do some interesting practices and take some journeys with me today. We're going to talk about dream reentry, how to get back into a dream, the role of the dreaming and the dream space for creativity and solutions, problem solving, and some information and practices about dreaming with the dead. So we're going to talk both about nighttime dreams and what we do when we're awake. So daydreams or day visions or journeying, right? So now I want you to remember that the dreaming or the experience of having a dream does not occur in a place far removed from this world, right? That we have a foot in each world simultaneously. This waking world is actually a part of or embedded within the dreaming or the dream world. So even though during our sleep time we can travel to many different planes and many different worlds, it is also true that we can do that while we are consciously awake as well. It's just a matter of learning the skill of active dreaming so that we can then travel through that gateway inside us into the dreaming and bring back information and energy in a way that's similar to what we do when we're actually asleep at night. You know, it wasn't always true that we slept for like 7 or 8 or 9 hours in a stretch. This is something recent in human history. The way it was is that we'd sleep right after sundown, wake up in the middle of the night, share dreams around the fire, stoke the fire, go back to sleep, and then get up again. And again, in the summer, if it was very hot, there might be an afternoon nap. In the winter, if it was very cold, there might be, again, a time around the fire to rest and recover. So dreaming happened in cycles of 2 and 3 times in a day, not in one long stretch. So that's part of what happens when we sleep in one long stretch. We don't often remember all of our dreams. If you get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, which I do, it's useful because then I'm going to catch normally a part of a dream or maybe an entire dream. So I can jot that down in the middle of the night and then catch another dream in the morning. So I will encourage you to keep up your journal entries on your dreams, because the more you do that, the more you're able to see what personal symbols your dreams hold and some of the meaning that will rise from those symbols that's particular to you in your life. Remind yourself too that our consciousness, our awareness, is very much like that image of an iceberg. That in our waking state, that's the conscious awareness that's above the waterline. In our dreaming state or in our imaginal space when we're journeying, that's the consciousness that we utilize that's below the waterline. So it's not just that tip that where we are in a reality that we have consensual agreements with the other people about what's real and what isn't, what's here and what isn't. When we pay attention to the dream space and the imaginal world within us and around us, we can also tap into those places at any point in the day when we choose to go inside and do a journey and do so to a waking dream. So another way to think about it is this. If our consciousness is like a lighthouse, we are the light. And that light spins 360 degrees. Our waking experience will be one window pane out that lighthouse window of all those windows that cover the 360 degrees. So that little flash that comes through that one window pane is what our waking reality is compared to all the rest of the experience of our awareness, which occurs more and more deeply under the surface. And it's necessary, right, for us to navigate three-dimensional reality. We have to find a way to filter all of that tremendous energy and information so that we can cross the street and not get hit by a truck, so that we can do things, so that we can, anything you want, garden, so that we can cook our meals. But the point is that deeper consciousness that we possess is a hotline to all kinds of different awareness, from what's happening on the planet, to the weather, to potential threats coming our way, to the state of our health, to connections, real-time connections with those who have passed to the other side. So the more practice we have, the easier it is to have one foot in each part of our awareness, okay? So do create the habit of sharing your dreams. If you haven't already done this, please start each day by sharing dreams with a friend, or, even if you have to wait till maybe lunchtime, but create that practice of sharing dreams with friends or family and letting them share dreams back, and just sitting with that information. Get a dream buddy. Sit with each other's dreams and see what thoughts and associations come up. Play the game, if it were my dream, and report to that other person what thoughts and information come to you, and let them play that game with you as well. See what they bring to the party that might make sense. It might be an angle that you didn't see before. Now, we can practice re-entering our dreams alone or with somebody else. You can take someone with you on a dream journey by telling them the dream in the first person as if it's happening now, and you bring them with you. We're going to do that in a few minutes, so it won't be confusing how it's done. You can re-enter a dream while you're fully awake, and then you can share what new information comes up. If you're doing it with a friend or a partner, the dreamer will guide the experience into their dream, and then there'll be a little period of silence where you see what's going on, where you experience the dream on your own, and then we'll bring you back. You can do that with a timer if you like. You can do that with a ringtone on your phone that's gentle. You can do it by using a recording of shamanic drumming if that's something that you prefer, or a period of silence with an app that gives you some little yoga tinkling bell sounds. So those are all things that you can do to help you to come back at maybe 10 minutes or 12 minutes. Now, you can do it for longer if you like. I suggest that you start out easy, that you start out with about 10 minutes. And you might have a question to take into the dream, or you might just bring a buddy to get to see what they see. Or maybe you're going to go talk to your dream self, right? You can re-enter a dream and talk to yourself that's in the dream and ask questions, or see what's happening that you might have missed. You can even have a friend enter a dream with you and play a role in your dream. Maybe if there was somebody sitting at the table at the restaurant, maybe your dream self maybe your friend could play the role of that person. Or maybe they could come join the table and listen into the conversation. So feel free to use your imagination to set up the parameters of the dream re-entry. You might have a good idea of what more information you would like to find out, or you might not. You might just enter the dream because it was interesting or strange, and you want to see what else you can see. So again, I want you to, when you're in the dream space as a re-entry process, like with all things, pay attention. Don't analyze. Don't try to figure it out. Don't go down that road of analysis or looking up dream meanings in some odd places. Don't do that stuff. Sure, you can come back and look up some images if you like, but you're not looking for a dream interpretation as much as you're looking for what information and energy is there for you, particularly for you. And with practice, your symbols will definitely start to make themselves known to you. So, all right, I'm going to take you into a dream with me. I'm going to give you then a few minutes to explore the dream on your own, and then I'll bring you back. Now, if you wish, you can post your results. You can email me your results, or you can keep them to yourself if that's what you like to. But I will also share with you anything new that I get from the dream space. And then, if you want to compare notes, that's great. But it will just give you an experience of what it's like to enter someone's dream. And then you can practice on your own. If you had a dream from last night, you can re-enter your own dream later today and see what new thing comes up, or see what broader picture comes to you. And don't be surprised if things morph for you in your waking dreams as well, if a person turns into a different person, if suddenly an animal shows up, or if there's a door where there wasn't one before, let those things happen. Please don't get caught in the trap of saying, I'm imagining this. This is just my imagination. Don't do that. Just go with what's there and see what happens, okay? All right, so get comfortable and close your eyes and just take a few breaths. And I'm just going to talk you into a dream that I had. It's a very simple dream. So relax. Feel your body settle down. Notice your breath. And imagine that you're walking down a street with me. Imagine that the street is sunny, the temperature is warm. You can see the little sparkles of mica in the sidewalk. And on the right, on the corner, there's a blue house with a porch, a white porch with a few steps leading up. And there's a big cat sitting on the middle step of that porch. We go up the steps, and I open the door, and you come in the house behind me. And there's an old woman sitting at a big table. And the table is filled with bowls, wooden bowls, ceramic bowls, metal bowls. And she's showing me things about what's in those bowls and what I'm to do with them. So see what you can see, listen to her, and notice some of those bowls on your own. Now she pushes away from the table for a moment, goes into the next room, which is the kitchen. And she comes back carrying a small wooden tray. And there are 3 glasses on the tray, 2 in the front next to each other, and 1 a bit behind. And the glasses are filled with a liquid that is minty green, cool, clear, cloudy green. It's a beautiful color, and the glasses are rimmed with something that looks like it's probably sugar. And she puts a glass down in front of her place and 1 in front of mine, and then takes that 3rd glass and looks at you and says, you weren't here before, but you can have some too. And with a little glow in her eye, she moves that glass across my space into yours, and you nod at her, and the 3 of us have a sip of the cool, sweet, delightful liquid. It tastes sweet yet herbaceous, a little bit like lemon and thyme and basil and honey. And it has this lovely cooling effect in your body. And she nods and says, good, yes, and we nod. And then the dream begins to dissipate, and you find yourself breathing your way back into the moment, into your body, into the room in which you rest, bringing back anything from that experience that you choose. Okay. When I had that original dream, it was very vivid, and I was interested, and I'm still interested, in any other information about what she wanted me to do with those bowls and the things in those bowls. And this time when I brought you with me into the dream, I had a memory with a very strong scent to it. It was the smell of osha root and uva ursi. And when I was in my 20s, I used to make a lot of bath bags and herbal teas and tinctures for pregnant women. Okay, so I had a very strong memory of having bowls and doing something like that. But this was different. So it was intriguing. I saw some of the things that were in the bowls. I saw a bowl filled with rose petals. I saw one filled with violets. I saw one filled with pansy. I saw one filled with dandelion leaves. So I got a little bit of clarity on what was in those bowls this time. And if you want to play, if it were my dream and you want to send me information, go right ahead. And if you came back with nothing, that's fine too. It's still good practice. But this is how you play. You take somebody into the dream with you, see what they see, and if they bring something back that's useful, that's great. And if you don't get any more than you had before, that's fine too. I'm going to sit with this dream again, and I'm going to, I think I will re-enter the dream and see who that person, who the old woman is. So that's in my next dream re-entry of that little dream, because it was such a vivid dream, I'm going to go play with that. All right, so that's practice number 1 for you to play with this week. Let's talk a little bit about creativity in the dream space. Do you ever have those moments where you kind of wander off and you're not thinking about anything, and then suddenly the answer to something that you've been trying to figure out is there, fully formed? Well, that's again a product of being able to reach down into the dreaming where all the connections and all the information is, and bring it to the surface. There are lots of instances in which nighttime dreams have brought information, vital information to people, and also creative processes. For example, Paul McCartney we won't even use the word compose, but the entire melody and song for Yesterday came to him fully formed, finished in a dream. And he woke up and he recorded it, and he was actually concerned about it because he thought surely he must just be remembering somebody else's music, that it couldn't have come through that way. And there's a word for it, and the word is cryptomnesia. All right? When you think that you created something, but really you've remembered it from some other place. But no, this is a method that the deep mind often uses to bring information like that to the surface. Now, I've had that happen. I sing and I write music, and I have a number of times woken up with a song fully formed, running through me, and I know that if I think, oh, I'll remember that melody in the morning, or I'll remember those lyrics, not going to happen. Just like a dream, it'll be gone. So if I get up at that moment and grab my guitar and work it out, or grab a notebook and write down the lyrics, then I will have a brand new song fully formed that I just need to then learn how to play in the morning or later in the day. So this is common. This happens a lot, and not just with the arts, but it also happens in the sciences. So Niels Bohr, the father of quantum mechanics, he had a dream that led to the discovery of the structure of the atom. He dreamed that he saw the atom with the electrons spinning around it like planets orbiting the sun. Now, when he woke from that dream, he still then had to prove that what he saw was accurate, and eventually he did, and as much as one could prove a theory like that, right? And his vision of atomic structure turned out to be one of the most important breakthroughs of his time, and one for which, by the way, he did win a Nobel Prize. And you probably are familiar with the story of the sewing machine, Elias Howe and the sewing machine, that he had a dream that he only had 24 hours left to finish creating the sewing machine, and where he was stuck was he didn't know where to put the hole in the needle, right? That's where he was stuck. And in his dream, he was making the sewing machine for this tribe of warriors. And the king said, you have 24 hours, and if you don't have this finished, we're going to kill you. And he didn't have it finished, and the warriors came at him with spears. And what he noticed was that in the tip of each spear, there was a hole. And he woke from that dream, and he even, as it's recorded, he woke at 4 a.m. and went to his drawing table, and by 9 a.m, he had a working model, and that is, in fact, how the sewing machine was born. So again, there's plenty of information on this stuff. It's absolutely fascinating. So it's a thing to play with, right? It's a thing to play with. We're going to do a practice. We're going to have a little play time with exactly this. We're going to enter a place where we can ask a question that has to do with something that we're trying to solve, or a creative project that we're working on, and we're just going to see what's there, right? I mean, it's not a guarantee that you're going to discover, the structure of an atom, right? Or whatever. But I want you to get some experience in playing with dropping down into that space and asking a question to see what happens, all right? So since I'm not taking you into my dream, you're going to enter your own space. We're also going to say together the nod to the keeper of the gate, right? So may all our doors and gates and paths be open, and all our doors and gates and paths between the worlds, and may they be closed to any who would harm us or those we love. So I'm going to say it again. You can say it with me if you like. May all our doors and gates and paths be open, and all our doors and gates and paths between the worlds, and may they be closed to any who would harm me or those I love. By the way, another dream came, the person, I can't think of her name, the person who wrote the Twilight series, she dreamed of key elements of those books, and including the relationship between the vampire and the human, and the fact that the vampire's skin sparkled in the sunlight but did not burn. That came to her in a dream as well. So there's plenty of information in the dreaming about this stuff. Okay, we're going to have that little practice time now. So take about 30 seconds and decide something that you would like to have more information on. What would you like to have more information about? What do you want to know? What do you want to bring back? Okay. We're going to do a little practice now, then I'm going to give you a dream quest assignment based on this, based on what we're doing right now. So we're going to take this idea for a spin. And as active dreamers, again, we can enter the dreaming anytime we wish. So whatever your little project is, or your question, or the dilemma, or something you have to make a decision and you don't know what to do about it. Okay, all of that. Pick something, close your eyes, take a few breaths. And as you breathe, relax your body. And as you relax, images begin to rise around you. And you find yourself standing in a beautiful library. Tall windows, airy and spacious. Archways, comfortable furniture. The library right now is completely vacant except for you and the person behind the desk. And you walk up to that person and they say to you, "What's the password?" And you think, "Password? What's the password?" they say again. And whatever the first thing is that comes to your mind, how you feel in a library, or what you want, the question you have, just say that. Say a word. And the person behind the desk nods and smiles. "What can I help you with?" they say. And you reveal what you're working on, or what your question is, or what your project is that you'd like help with. "Follow me," they say. And they take you down an aisle, looking through the books, the publications. "Ah," they say, "here it is." And they slip something off the shelf, open it and hold it out to you. And you take your time. You might read something, you might see a picture, or you might enter into an experience. Whatever it is, go with it right now. And don't worry if it seems relevant to your question or not just yet. Notice whatever details you can and any sensations you have in your body. Notice any images. And if the librarian speaks to you, pay close attention. All right, whatever you have right now is whatever you have. You can go back at any time for more information. Turn to the librarian and offer your thanks. And take a seat in the nearest chair, bringing your attention back to your breath. And let yourself come all the way back, filling your body with your own awareness, bringing back any images, words, information, feelings, experiences. Come all the way back to the moment and open your eyes. Now write down whatever you got, whatever you thought, whatever you saw, whatever you heard. Take a moment now and write it down. And while you do that, I'll share with you that also Google, our idea for the biggest search engine in the, came from a dream. That the founder, Larry Page, he dreamt of Google. He dreamt of seeing that he and his partner were able to make a business by downloading the entire web onto computers, by essentially downloading the universe onto computers. So it was out of that dream that the idea for Google was born, which I also think is very cool. So creative ideas, visions, recipes, things about our health, all kinds of things come from the deep creative dream space. Our dreaming carries with it everything that we need to solve problems, to course correct when we've gone amiss, to help us off the crazy train when we've gone in a direction that's not useful. We have all of the resources within us to do that. Okay, now hopefully you've written down what you got from that last practice. And here's your assignment, your dream class assignment on this particular subject. For the next 3 nights, I'd like you to write a sentence asking for a solution, or we'll say it differently, inviting a solution or a creative spark to flow into your dreams and into your conscious awareness for you to bring back. So in other words, you're going to just ask for a dream and you're going to write it down. I would like information about X. I would like the solution for X. I need to know if I should do this or if I should do that. What's going on with my health around blah, 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 blah. Okay. So 2 things about this. When you have a dream after making that request, even though it may on the surface not seem like it's about the subject matter, it very well could be. You might just not be putting 2 and 2 together. You might not be reading the symbols. So if you have a dream that sticks with you after you make a request like that, then the following morning what you want to do, in addition to making note of the dream, is to do this dream reentry process, to use this asking information process about whatever you wrote the night before and go back into that dream and see what you can flesh out, see what else you can bring forward. Now, I'm also going to remind you that it's important that you honor your dreams when you bring them through. So if you have a dream about the library, for example, that maybe there's something there for you to notice, or go dust your books, or maybe visit your local library, or write something, or maybe you'll get a call from your friend that's a librarian, and that will help you to bring that dream forward. If you have a dream about a dog that guides you somewhere, then think about that. How do I honor that dream? So I just want you to be aware that when you have a dream and you're bringing that energy through into your waking space, that you also want to say thank you. You want to honor that dream, right? If you have dreams about birds, maybe you want to throw a little bird seed out, right? Something to honor the dream or to bring the images through into your conscious awareness. So it's something that the more that you practice that, the easier it is to bring back and experience larger bodies of information and energy, because you're creating a please and thank you, right? You're creating an exchange between your conscious awareness and the vast, vast, deep resources of the rest of your awareness, where instead of dismissing and shoving it aside and hiding it and ignoring it, you're cultivating this, bringing it forth, listening, decoding, and taking action. So, like, for example, if you have a dream and you feel in upon awakening that you're being given a warning about something, heed the warning, don't brush it off. And if the thing doesn't happen, that's good. You avoided whatever that was, right? If in the dream you're told, don't leave at 5 o'clock, leave at 5:15, okay, that's not a big deal. You can do that. It probably won't be that specific, but you get what I'm saying. Whatever there is in the context of the dream that gives you a strong feeling is some kind of memo from you to you, or from the deep to you. Okay, so again, we took that idea for a spin about a solution. It works really well if I know somebody that uses this she used this for finding a house. She was looking for houses, and when she went to see a house, she would ask for a dream about the house. And what's fascinating is a lot of the information that she got, or the images that she got, ended up really playing into what the realtor told her later about the house when she asked hard questions. What about the roof on that house? What's going on with that boiler, right? Did somebody die in that house, right? So it's very interesting what she was able to come up with, and how much the realtor was able to validate the thoughts and images that she got in the dream space as she was looking for a house. Okay, moving along. So I told you we're going to cover a lot today. Let's talk about a little bit about dreaming with the dead. So again, this is not something that you need to be afraid of. It's not something that you need to hire somebody else to do for you, right? If you want to reach out to a deceased friend or family member, inviting them to come into a dream space is a wonderful way to reach that level of awareness where the dead dwell. So it's not hard. It just requires you making the request and being open to the process. And there are lots of symbols and images that show up around meeting the dead. Sometimes we have a special place in our dreaming. Sometimes we meet them, say, at a restaurant or at a coffee house or on a park bench, or maybe a place where you hung out with them when they were alive. So you can even visit with your deceased pets this way. You can call them to you and see if they come and join you for a little while and share their energy with you, and you get to see that they're okay, and they get to let you know that they still love you. And that's the thing, right? That happens all the time. Sometimes people experience their dead pets, even jumping on the bed with them in the middle of the night, and they think they're actually there, and they wake up, and then they go back to sleep and have a dream. So play with these ideas, because again, you can have dead people turn up in the midst of a dream and not even recognize that it's happening until you wake up in the morning and then go, oh, so-and-so is in my dream. Well, hey, they're dead, right? So just pay attention. I think that you might be surprised by the amount of contact you might have with somebody that's on the other side. And people have all kinds of reasons. The dead have all kinds of reasons for entering our dream space. Sometimes they want completion. Sometimes they're looking for closure. Sometimes they just want to let you know they're okay. Or sometimes they tell you something. I know people who have showed up in other people's dreams to tell them where things were that they couldn't find, right? Someone dies, and where's Aunt so-and-so's ruby ring? Nobody knows. And then someone has a dream and say, I know where it is. She told me it's in this very unlikely place. You know, it's in the back of the silverware drawer, inside of a salt shaker, like really. And they're like, oh, you're nuts. And eventually somebody looks and, hey, look, there's that ring in the back of the silverware drawer inside a salt shaker. So, you know, these are the kinds of things that happen on a regular basis that a lot of times we just don't talk about them. It doesn't mean it doesn't occur, and it doesn't mean it isn't real. So I'm encouraging you again to share your dream space with the people in your life, and to get a dream buddy, at least one dream partner, a friend or family member that you can develop this practice, this skill with, because you'll be surprised. And not just about, you know, solving problems or having a creative moment or even speaking to the dead, but also about, you know, seeing what's coming around the corner, seeing what parallel reality or what possible future you might be heading toward, which means either you can step up the process if it's something that you want to have or want to experience, or you can ask for some help to get off that path and onto a different one if you feel something coming or are told something's coming that you don't want to experience. Because everything that we think and feel, how we feel at any given moment, is giving us a direction of an energy that's taking us in the direction of a probable future. So if you really understand the dreaming, you can catch on that wherever you're facing right now is not written in stone. If you get a warning in a dream, right, you can change that probable future. If you get a vision of something wonderful in a dream and you don't follow through, you can miss that probable future. So what you're doing and how you're doing it has everything to do with what of those many possibilities actually materialize as your reality experience. It's not that complicated. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, this is so complicated. It's not. All I'm telling you is that when it comes to creating something, that you need to get from whatever probable future you're headed toward into whatever one you want to be headed toward. Okay? That's what I'm telling you. And when we talk about interacting with and having dreams with the dead, you might also discover that there is a place in your dreams that's a kind of way station, that's a kind of place where the dead and the living come together. And it might look like a train depot. It might look like a bus stop. It might be a hotel in my dreams about the dead. I have a very large hotel complex, and in fact I call it the Transition Hotel, and I go there at least once a night. I'll have at least a small dream in the hotel, and there's always something different going on. Sometimes I'm bringing somebody to the hotel that's just passed. Sometimes I'm visiting people who are in the hotel, this between place that haven't moved on. Sometimes I meet somebody there that's dead that I know from my life, and they're on the other side. Sometimes I'm teaching a class. Sometimes I'm taking a class. It's, for me, in being in the space with the dead is a very big part of my dreaming experience, and always has been since I've been young. So I'm not saying it will be that for you. I'm just sharing with you that I have a lot of experience in that area, and I spend a fair amount of time in that space. So again, if anything about that makes you feel edgy, just go back to our statement, right? May all my gates and doors and paths be open, and all my gates and doors and paths between the worlds, and may they be closed to any who would harm me or those I love. Because it is true that you might be in a weird state of mind, or you might be feeling depressed or down on yourself or something. You might be in a weird space, and therefore have a dream or dream yourself into an area of the dreaming. Dead aside, this has nothing to do specifically with the deceased, but dream yourself into an area where it's dark, the energy's low, it feels a little creepy, so you can get yourself out of there, right? You just notice that you're there, and again, you go to calling in your guides or your guardians, or you just say no and you get the hell out of there. So we all have dreams like this. We all have times where we enter a space and that gives access to something that we don't want to experience, right? So just be aware of that. If you have any of that around talking to the dead, just take care of it. Just deal with it up front by saying your commentary to the gatekeeper and calling up that protection, that you can enter the world of the dead consciously and deliberately in your dream state and in your waking state, and have a good experience, and not have to think twice about anything that maybe you were told or you scared yourself with, because dead people are just people. It's not like they turn into anything else. They're just people, and they're generally people that still have an agenda. Maybe they're trying to give you a memo, or give somebody a memo. And I'm going to tell you a little story about that. Many years ago, I was on my computer doing something, and this phrase appeared, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how it got there or why it was there. It was if I had typed it, but I was not typing, but it appeared on the screen. I believe I was on Facebook at the time, and it appeared like as a comment, and it had nothing to do with whatever was going on. It said, "Talk to the dead. They are alive and available." And I thought, what in the hell is that? Right? So I wrote it down on a piece of paper. In fact, I have the piece of paper because for all these years that have gone by, I have kept it on my desk. Here it is. Talk to the dead. They are alive and available. Okay, so it's been on my desk here for many years, and I was going to talk about it during this section of the class. And I thought, well, maybe I'll look up in Robert Moss's blog if he has anything about psychopomps or talking to the dead, because surely he has a whole book about that. And lo and behold, I type it in, and I'm using the Finder, and I find from 2017 a blog post with the heading, "Talk to the Dead, They Are Alive and Available." Now, this happened yesterday when I was putting the class notes together. I almost fell off my chair. All right? I mean, that message just appeared one day. And, yesterday when researching links for the class, I came across that blog post and I was just, wow. I mean, I've had that on my desk since before I knew Robert Moss existed. Okay. I'm going to read you a paragraph from that particular blog post. When you become an active dreamer, able to shift your consciousness and travel to other realities at will, you'll know that you don't have to go to sleep in order to dream. You can make conscious journeys to the other side for timely and helpful communication with the departed, learning about their current environments and learning about their many transitions. You can invite a loved one to have a chat with you over tea or a glass of wine. You can entertain friendly spirits in the liminal space of sleep or wakefulness, and will want to learn the arts of discernment and psychic screening to make sure that you don't invite unwanted guests. Right? So that's just what we're talking about. You invite those you want to see, and you disinvite anybody else that might be hanging around. So, for our last practice for today, we're going to have a little meeting with the dead. So you can have someone in mind. Now, you can even have a famous person in mind. If you've ever wanted to meet a famous person that's passed, you can have them in mind. They may or may not show up, but you can reach out to them and see if they're there. You can reach out to a deceased relative or a deceased friend or a deceased animal, right? Because all these experiences will deepen with your practice. So this way, you'll have more ability to reach out across the different layers of consciousness, even when you're wide awake, and have experiences if you're looking to reach a level of contact with somebody in the between, okay? So this is going to be our final practice for today. And it will be brief. So get yourself comfortable, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your breath. And as you breathe, allow yourself to relax. And find yourself walking down a path with large flat stones, flowers growing on both sides, daffodils, crocuses. You're walking down the path. It's leading across a grassy space and into the woods. And there's a gate there. Just a gate in the middle of the path. And then you see a gatekeeper. And the gatekeeper opens the gate wide and says, "You are welcome. May all your gates and paths and doors be open, and may they be closed to any who would harm you or those you love." And you nod your thanks and step through that gate. And you find yourself in a comfortable and familiar place. You look around. You find a place to sit, and you feel content and happy. The space you're in is familiar and comforting. And you hold the thought of your departed in your mind. Asking if they are available. Would they come? Would they visit? And a door opens. and you look and see who's coming through. You smile and take a few moments to have an experience with the departed. And you can feel the energy of the place around you starting to fade a bit. So you say, thank you. Thank you for coming to spend a moment with me. And how can I honor you? What can I say or do to honor you? And allow that answer to come. And the departed begins to vanish slowly from your sight. And you close your eyes and breathe yourself back into the moment, into this time and place, into your body, bringing back that brief experience with the departed, and bringing back a way in which to honor them. Return fully now and allow your eyes to open. Okay. If there's anything you wish to write down about that, do it now. And if you received something, some way to honor that person or that animal who or whatever you spoke with or experienced, even if it doesn't make sense, it might say, buy yourself flowers, or you might have a sense of getting out an old photograph, or you might have a sense of taking a walk in the woods. Whatever that honoring is about, go ahead and do it. Okay, so essentially, all of the experiences from this class are going to deepen with practice. And I suggest that you do at least one practice from this class daily, in addition to journaling your dreams and sharing them with someone. Because the more you immerse yourself, this week and next week are all about immersion. You're going to immerse yourself in the dreaming after the first 2 weeks of warming up to the idea and the practices and getting a feel for journaling and sharing. So see how much time you can spend this week hanging out in the deep end of the pool, so to speak, diving below the surface and seeing what's there for you, seeing how to play in those other realities and bring that information, creativity, clarity, and just the sheer joy of being able to move from world to world, to bring that back with you, to enrich your life, to help guide you on your path to creating the kind of life that you want to have, by helping you discern what's working and what isn't, by getting deeper information that will help you solve problems, and also by opening that line of communication with others, deceased or otherwise, guides, guardians, on the other side, on the other part of your awareness that normally we tend to tune out, which again, it's a mistake. I'm going to remind you that intellect is not intelligence. It's just intellect. That intelligence is actually the marriage between intellect and the deep, between intellect and the imaginal worlds, between intellect and what we want to call instinct, intuition, and the deeper dreaming. So if you want to cultivate intelligence, and you've had a lifetime of ignoring and dismissing a lot of your dream space information and intuition and impulses, this is the time to reclaim it. Because although, yes, this class is about dreaming and dreaming true, it's also about recognizing that we are literally living in a waking dream, that the experiences that we have on a daily basis are the solidified or crystallized reality that lifts from the many possibilities of the dreaming, of the deeper worlds in which the threads of consciousness and energy are woven together to create the experiences that we call reality. And therefore, the more experience we have with diving into the deep and being open to learning, for lack of a better word, the technology of the deep mind, like what goes on in there. How does reality occur, not just for us, but period? How does reality occur? You will have moments of insight and awakening, many of which you may not be able to bring back into full conscious awareness, but that's okay, because your perspective about who you are and the world in which we live will shift. You'll find that you start to see yourself as an integral function of the universe, as an integrated spirit of consciousness connected to all life everywhere, rather than some little isolated soul floating around on the surface of a blue ball trying to discover whether or not you should pay the electric bill today. Not that you're going to stop paying the electric bill, but that your awareness of who and what you are will expand tremendously the more you allow yourself to be a dreamer, to be a dream keeper, and to be one of the circle of dreamers, bringing that dreaming back up to conscious awareness in the world for yourself and for others. All right, it's enough of me yammering on to you for today. I hope your best dreams come true, and I'll see you next week. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye now.